This is Partners in Crime with Adam Croft and Robert Daws.
There we go.
Oh, that was very good. I didn't realise
Singing along.
Is that the first time you've sung on the podcast?
It's the first time I've sung along, yeah, and the last.
Is this a New Year's resolution?
It's not.
Will be, right. Okay.
Happy New Year. We're
Yes.
back for our third year on air.
A very happy New Year to you
Indeed.
and to all our lovely listeners.
Yes, 2018, 2019, and now 2020.
And
if we
first
last
slurp of the New Year on Partners in Crime.
Go on. Lovely jubbly.
Oh,
We will start off, I think, by dropping the mood considerably and mentioning the very sad and untimely death of MC Beaton.
yes.
Who died very sadly at the end of the year at the age of 83. The author of the Agatha Raisin and Hamish Macbeth novels died after a short illness. Her son Charles said the support of her fans and the success she enjoyed in her later years were a source of great pride and satisfaction to her, and for that I will be eternally grateful. Her real name was Marion Chesney Gibbons. She sold more than 21 million copies of her books around the world, but she didn't like being called a cosy mystery writer. She said, "It is patronising and implies that my books, which are easy to read, must be easy to write. Nobody calls Agatha Christie cosy," she told the Crime Hub in 2019. "To keep writing in clear, well-balanced sentences takes a lot of hard work, and if anyone doesn't want a Glasgow kiss, swallow that opinion and put it where the sun don't shine." That's what she said. She had written more than 160 novels,
Good
apparently,
grief.
which is even more than me. So, yes, she will be greatly missed.
Well, yes. I mean, I sort of got to know a lot about her because I filmed an episode of Agatha Raisin this year, of course, down in Bath, although I never got to meet her.
No.
And the television series is sort of the same but different. As television series very often are, and quite a lot of emphasis on the comedy and the quirkiness, which is, I suppose, I'm going to ask you a question now. Cosy. Now, my novels have been described by certain people as being cosy,
Really?
and I look at them in exactly the same way. And I go, well, there's death and carnage all over the place. People getting bumped off in the most horrific ways and whatever, but they're still considered cosy. So what is that about? I think she has a point. I mean, I don't object. I'm happy for anyone to call my books anything they like other than bad. And but the cosy genre, I mean, what is that?
Well, that's a very good question. I wouldn't have put yours down as cosy by any stretch of the imagination.
No, well,
I mean,
several people have.
I mean, insofar as you don't add kind of gratuitous violence or swearing and things like that,
No.
you try to kind of keep it respectable, which is something I certainly never attempted. But in that respect, yes, I guess. But no, I wouldn't put them down as cosy. It's all for me. Cosy is kind of golden age-ish. It's kind of quaint, slightly twee, maybe. You've got your
comic.
cats. Yeah, or sort of slightly comic.
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
Jonathan Creek would
Yes.
be cosy
Yes.
because it's a light-hearted look at what is actually quite a depressing subject.
Well, yes, it is. Death and murder is very depressing. But that anyway, I didn't mean to bring the conversation back to me. But it's the phrase "cosy" has always sort of rather bewildered me. I again, like you, I understand it in terms of Agatha Christie and the Golden Age and things like that. But for contemporary sort of police procedurals and things like that, I think it's a strange thing. Maybe it's maybe people are sort of used to much increased levels of sex and violence and ghastliness in their novels. And,
Maybe you will become cosy now because of that. Maybe
yes,
that's the,
I'll be coming off the high caffeinated coffee and onto some nice Ovaltine for our broadcast. Get the slippers out and have a pipe standing by, not that I smoke.
Well, when it comes to cosy now, I think the modern age cozies, you've either got to have cats or cake, haven't you? That's the sort of the cartoonish covers and what have you. That's
true.
The new kind of cosy. But there we go.
I recognise that young man.
Yes, move on to something now that is not very well. But his books certainly aren't very cosy, but the story's quite cosy. This was an article with a headline: Edinburgh author Ian Rankin donates £200,000 in Inspector Rebus crime novel royalties to charity. This is from The Scotsman, by which I mean it was in the Scotsman newspaper. Not
the mighty Scotsman newspaper.
Yes, but not that the money has come from a Scotsman, because that's the case as well.
Yes,
of course. But,
yes. Well explained.
Yes. So in every sense of the word, this is from the Scotsman. The money was given to a charitable trust, which he and Miranda Harvey set up 12 years ago to fund good causes at home and abroad, Miranda being his wife. The trust has helped health, art and educational charities in the past, apparently, and over the last 5 years, Rankin has donated around £1 million of his company earnings to the trust. Rankin, of course, being Ian Rankin, not Rankin, the artist.
Again, wonderfully
Just to
explained.
cause more confusion.
Yeah.
The author, who has sold more than 20 million books, delighted fans last month when he revealed he is working on his 23rd Rebus novel. That's according to The Scotsman. The Scotsman being the newspaper, and not Scotsman Ian Rankin, of course. So I thought that was quite a nice, fun news story.
Well, I mean, and a very uplifting one. Certainly going into the new year. I mean, it's always wonderful when people who are so successful as Ian is actually decides to put something back, and considerably so in his case. £200,000 is an awful lot of money, and he'll hopefully do a lot of good for an awful lot of people. So well done, Mr. Rankin.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with any other Rankin, but the world famous, internationally acclaimed crime writer from Edinburgh.
Yes. I mean, we donate a lot of our money to pubs, for example, don't we?
We do, inadvertently, but we're not as kind as all that, because we demand something back. Do we not?
Yeah, it is nice occasionally
Yes.
to have something back. Yeah. Well, I was browsing around recently, I got an email from the nice people at Apple.
Oh, yes.
Who told us that apparently you can now listen to podcasts using your Alexa. The Apple Podcast app is now available on Alexa-enabled Amazon devices in the United States. And of course, having just said that word, there are probably devices going off all over the States now. But apparently what you have to say, and I apologise, your device is about to do it. You say, Alexa, play Partners in Crime on Apple Podcasts, and it will do so. Or Alexa, play Partners in Crime from last week on Apple Podcasts, and it will do it.
Goodness great. Now I'm going to tell you something now. Do you know what one of my Christmas presents was?
Should we give them a minute or two just to come back to where they were, seeing as their Alexas are going off?
Oh, no, I'm going to set them off again in a second. Without a shadow of a doubt. We do apologise, but only half-heartedly. Well, I actually got an Alexa.
Oh.
I didn't think for a second that it would be something that I enjoyed, but I absolutely love it.
Really?
I do.
What do you use it for? Because I'm one of these people who goes, I don't want something listening to me in my house.
I go, Alexa, can I have the BBC Radio 4 Today programme? And on it comes.
That quickly?
Well, pretty much. She does. Wow. She does actually repeat your order back to you. Do you mean the BBC? And I go, yes, thank you very much, Alexa. She goes, that's all right. I say, you around for a coffee a little later on? I say, absolutely not. But I find it's extraordinary. It's so versatile, and has become, within a very short period of time in my household, quite essential, really. There we are. And I hate to say that usually with technology, but it just is. It's terrific. But we are available. So if you say, Alexa, play Partners in Crime podcast,
then it should do so.
It should do so.
We hope. I've never had one. In fact, I for Christmas, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law bought me a board game, which I can't remember the name of it for the life of me, but it's... The best way I can describe it is it's a bit like Trivial Pursuit, but with a technological bent. So rather than having the answers on the card,
yes,
you play with the Google Assistant, which you can download on your phone, and it's a very similar kind of thing to Alexa.
Right. So you don't need friends?
No, you play with your friends.
Oh, I see. You play with your friends.
But the questions are not, who won the 1983 FA Cup final.
Oh, I see.
It will be who won the last or most recent FA Cup final. So the answers change as time goes on. Or how far is it from here to Los Angeles, which of course is different depending on where you're playing the game.
Or where your Alexa is stationed.
Or where your Alexa is stationed, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of adaptable game in that sense, in that the answers are a bit more fluid, depending on the time, depending on where you are. There's some random element in there as well. So I had to download this Google Assistant for my phone in order to play this game, and very swiftly deleted it again afterwards. The game's brilliant, and I will download the Google Assistant every time I want to play that game.
Yes.
But having it on my phone and listening to everything, which of course is what a phone is designed to do, I'm well aware of that, and I'm well aware this is my problem and nobody else's, but just kind of freaked me out a little bit.
I'm sure it's something that a little bit of counselling will put right in next to no time.
Yeah.
The thing I'm reading through it in books like that, the only thing with these devices in our homes and the ones we carry around in our pockets, phones for instance, is they're being used by an awful lot of writers who've obviously gotten onto the fact that these devices don't only provide you with information, they can provide people listening in with information as well. And there's a big worry that all these devices in our homes can be used by certain people to actually listen into conversation.
Well, by the companies, interestingly enough, because in the last book that I had out in plain sight, I needed my police officers to find out some information based on a conversation someone was having. And I spoke to a contact of mine who knows about kind of special policing, if you like, and covert operations. And I said, look, how would they do it? Would they perhaps go into the house, bug the house, or could they do something with the phone or with an Alexa type device or whatever? And he said, well, the Alexas, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Because the companies own that and the data, and they just will not allow police access or hand it over, and the technology companies are very, very strict on that. So from a law enforcement point of view, they're useless.
But within
the companies themselves will hear everything. So it's who you're more worried about, really. And I suppose if you're a law-abiding person, then you're not particularly worried about the police listening in. But it's whether the big companies can. That's the
I bet it's also a lot easier to listen in anywhere. I mean, I made the acquaintance of a fascinating gentleman recently who was giving lectures on his background is in security and working for all the top security agencies and firms, and quite a scary job. It sounds as if it has been. He's retired now, but he gives lectures and talks on these sort of things, and I had a few questions to ask him about bugging mobile phones and whatever. How easy was it? Because I'd actually included that in a story of mine, and I wanted to double check that I got it absolutely right. And what he told me was quite terrifying, how easy it is to get spyware and I know that's been around for years and years and years, but the developments in that sort of thing. So, I mean, wolves do actually have ears, but so do our technical, I'm sure, so do our dependent, we're dependent on all these technical devices for communication. And so I think an awful lot of people are not aware that it is a lot easier for people to gather information for whatever ghastly, dastardly needs they have than people think, which is not to actually frighten anyone.
And your phone's never truly off either. The microphone can be activated even when the phone is switched off.
Exactly. And I'm discovering this through reading crime thrillers.
Yeah.
Because of course crime writers are onto this straight anyway to actually sort of put this sort of stuff into plots to facilitate stories and skullduggery and all the rest of it. So
we do like our skullduggery.
I love the word skullduggery.
Yes.
It's a lovely word, is it not?
Nothing better than dugging a good skull every now and again.
Beautiful to say, rotten to be on the end of.
Another nice email we had, which wasn't from Apple, was to let us know that we had been featured as one of the best crime-related podcasts of 2019, and I'm just going to try and carry on, do a little bit of filling in, because I'm going to try and find the details on this, because
shall I do a tap dance on it? That won't read
do that,
very well, will it?
Can you do that?
Yeah, okay.
I'll just type in here and try and find this email.
At this moment in time, the Croft is pressing all the buttons on the QWERTY.
Found it.
He has succeeded in finding what he was looking for.
It's from feedspot.com.
Emails in the mist.
Feedspot.com had their top 10 crime podcasts you must follow in 2020. And their list was Writers Detective Bureau, Writer Types, Crime Time, of course, a big one, Two Crime Writers and the Microphone, excellent podcast, The Crime Hub, the Crime Fiction Lounge podcast, the wonderful, amazing Partners in Crime, the Crime Cafe, Wrong Place, Right Crime, and Do Some Damage.
Wow.
Oh, and they had an 11th one in their top 10, which was the Thrills and Mysteries podcast.
Well, that's very, very pleasant to discover, isn't it?
Yeah.
Goodness me, we really are starting the new year blowing our own trumpet. And I actually play the trumpet. Oh, you know that anyway. But, well, that's great.
Well, considering a lot of the other podcasts are much older, some of them go back sort of 2015, 2016. We are relative
new boys on the block.
List. Yeah. And
that's very nice.
Yeah, ripping it up.
Yes, I just realised I was blowing my own trumpet about blowing my own trumpet. But there we go. Well, that's very nice indeed. Thank you very much. Yeah. And that's lovely to know. And we'll do our best to continue, what we do, which is just banter away. Right now, I've got a recommendation this week. A new series started a few weeks back on the BBC in the UK, and I am pretty sure it's available worldwide on various platforms thereof. I realised I hadn't actually sat down and watched a good Scandi noir for a while, and this week I sat down and I realised that on BBC 4 they had been playing Wisting, this new Norwegian produced series. And there are 4 episodes in so far, and the rest are shown on Saturday nights. I think they show 2 episodes a night in the UK anyway. And it's absolutely terrific. All that you would wish for. Some reviewer said, this is the best Nordic noir ever, or at least since the last Nordic noir. And I have to agree, it's got all the things there. It's got great twists, it's got terrific acting, it's got wonderful landscapes, a bit cold, a bit grey, very menacing. It's got a great soundtrack. And I'll tell you a little bit about it, because, of course, it began life as a book. But here's the plot. A man's body found hidden in snow under a tree in the Norwegian Christmas tree farm near... did I say that? In the Norwegian Christmas... in a Norwegian Christmas tree farm. Right. Near Larvik in the county of Vestfold is investigated by William Wisting and his team of detectives. Fingerprints link to a serial killer who fled the US and who has evaded justice for over 20 years. FBI Special Agent Griffin and Bantham join the investigation, insistent that the connection to the US is kept hidden for as long as is possible. Wisting's daughter, Lina, is a journalist writing a story about the next-door neighbour who has died alone in his house. Her investigation, however, begins to merge with the police investigation. Well, there we go. That's just the opening, and it's intriguing. It really is. It's got a terrific cast, as I say. My son was particularly excited because an American actress playing Maggie Griffin, the FBI special agent, is played by Carrie-Anne Moss, who's known internationally, of course, for her performances in The Matrix, and as also in my son is mad on Marvel comics and series, and so she's appeared in those in the US as well. So she's excellent, but an all-round wonderful Scandinavian cast, mostly Norwegian, the most expensive production ever produced in Norway. And it is, of course, we should mention this at this time, he says, mention that it is available, the book from which it was written is available on Kobo. The Caveman, the William Wisting Mystery 4 by Jorn Lier Horst. The award.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Jorn Lier Horst.
No is the answer.
Listeners would have picked up that I am suffering from the tail end of a cold. It's sort of just stayed just behind my nose and is quite debilitating. It's not infectious, you'll be glad to know, Adam Croft, but not at this stage anyway. But it is quite miserable and makes speaking a little difficult and podcasting
especially
even
in
worse.
Norwegian.
Jorn Lier Horst. The award-winning book adapted for the BBC's critically acclaimed TV series Wisting, starring Carrie-Anne Moss from the producers behind Wallander and the girl with the dragon tattoo. And so people say, Barry Forshaw, the wonderful Barry Forshaw, says it is immensely impressive. We have great reviews from the Financial Times. Plotting reigns supreme. The Sunday Times, solid, satisfying police procedural. The Times, up there with the best of Nordic crime writers. And it really is. It's a marvellous ensemble piece. Of course, people sort of slightly more prominent than others, I suppose, within that ensemble. But it's very atmospheric. There are lots and lots of twists, which I'm enjoying. As I say, I'm 4 episodes in, and I can heartily recommend it. The first series is a combination of 2 books. One is The Caveman, and I've forgotten what the second one is, but they are books originally, and you can get them, and I'm going to hand over to Adam now. You'll be delighted to hear, on Kobo under Jorn Lear Horst, the William Wisting Mysteries. And how might someone go about getting these excellent books?
Well, I would strongly recommend, and should strongly recommend, you get it from Kobo, seeing as they've just agreed to sponsor us for a 3rd year.
Ooh,
wonderful people. If you want that book, or frankly, any other book, then head over to kobo.com and you can get 90% off of that book. You don't need one of their wonderful e-readers, even though I heartily recommend it. You can download the free app for your mobile phone or tablet and read on there with 90% off of a book of your choice. Just enter the promo code CRIME at the checkout, or if you go through the link in the show notes, if you're an existing Kobo customer, if you've already used your CRIME promo code, then you can use the promo code PARTNERS to get 40% off of your purchases moving forward. That's half price reading, practically, from the lovely people at Kobo. And I have it on good authority that in the next couple of weeks, we have another wonderful offer from the people at Kobo to give to you, you lovely listeners. So there'll be 3 fantastic Partners in Crime offers for listeners.
Well, I mean, that's spectacular. And as we're sort of blowing trumpets, probably inadvisedly, but I think we should actually blow Kobo's trumpet a little bit, because our dealings with them, I mean, they've been very supportive of us, but their dealings on all levels, both as writers and as podcasters and as producers of digital books, is quite inspiring. And you were very impressed right from the word go.
Well, even as a reader as well. I mean, I genuinely, the reason that I approached Kobo when we started Partners in Crime and asked them to sponsor it, is because I loved them anyway. And I read using a Kobo device. Yeah. I ditched my Kindle in favour of Kobo a long time ago because they're just far, far better. So yeah, genuinely a fan, not just saying that because they give us some money every year.
Needless to say, that money doesn't go into our pockets.
It does not.
It doesn't go into our pockets. It goes into keeping ahead on technical things and getting us from A to B. And
it goes into Moriarty's pocket. Mostly.
Yes, and goes into people who can... exactly. So,
and also our live events and things like that. It pays for the technology that keeps us going as we get more and more popular. We need to have better technology to maintain the podcast.
Yes.
It helps things like Partners in Crime Live, getting us up to Morecambe. We've got a couple more of those coming up this year, live festivals, and some of them which we are looking at and have possibly planned will be much further afield than Morecambe. So yeah, it all goes towards those kinds of things. No money in podcasting, folks. I wouldn't even recommend trying it. Now, Bob, have you seen You?
Have I seen You?
Have you seen You? Yes, on Netflix.
No.
Oh, it's wonderful, yes. The second season has just landed. To try and... I can't really describe the second season.
I thought you meant me.
No, you.
No, I haven't seen... I have seen...
Not you.
No, I see. Yes.
You see.
Tell me more.
Well, I can't describe the second season without giving away the first season, so I'm not going to.
Okay.
And of course, if you've seen the first season, you don't need me to tell you what happens. It kind of carries on from the first season.
I'm following that logic.
If you've never seen You, then me telling you the second season is A, pointless, and B, is going to ruin season 1 for you. So I'll tell you what happens in season 1.
Thank you, Holmes.
Which is that a chap called Joe Goldberg, who is a manager of a bookshop in New York, played by Penn Badgley. He is also a part-time serial killer. He falls in love with a customer called Guinevere Beck, played by Elizabeth Lale, and quickly develops an extreme, toxic and delusional obsession, according to Wikipedia. And it is frankly, one of the best things I've seen in Netflix in a long, long time. When we saw there was a second season, my wife and I kind of looked at each other and went, okay, this will be interesting. Let's see, because sometimes big hits like that, they come back for a second season, especially if they're trying to continue a closed first series, and it gets a little bit shaky. But this is excellent. There is a change of location. It moves from New York to LA for reasons left unexplained by me. Again, don't want to ruin things for anybody. But it is excellent. And I think season 2 is possibly even better than season 1.
Gosh,
as far as I'm concerned, it's excellent. If you haven't watched it, then do. If you don't have Netflix, then make use of the free trial just to get through the 2 seasons of You, because it is absolutely excellent and highly recommend that. I've got the last 2 episodes left to watch, which I'm going to watch tomorrow. Absolutely loving it. We've got a theory, or rather my wife's got a theory as to how it ends, and she said to me the other day, she said, I wonder if this is how it would go, this is what I would do, and she explained it, and I was frankly blown away. If she's got it right, it's very impressive by them and also by her for having guessed this and worked it out, but either way I think she's going to have to write some plots for me, because it's the explanation she came up with was ingenious.
Well, that's it. We've mentioned it before. Second series, you just said it then. The second series can very often be a disappointment. Not all the time by any means, but that they can be. And we've mentioned this before on the podcast, and one of the reasons is that very often to get something on television or get a film made, certainly, takes years and years and years and years and years, which means there's all this time put into script and character development, and everyone gets a chance to put their half-penny in the hope that it will improve it. So by the time the first series gets done, if it is a success, it's a success also because it's had a nice long time to stew, but the second series, if it's a success, is almost ordered immediately, which means the years it's taken to get something on the screen is suddenly condensed into a very short period of time. And I've mentioned this is one of the things with The Killing. That was a major international success straight off the bat, and there was a huge pressure for it to deliver a second series the following year. And unlike an awful lot of production companies and broadcasters, they said no, we're not going to do that. We are going to take time to get this absolutely right, to maintain standards and to continue in the way we have done, which is an incredibly brave decision or choice to make, and most people wouldn't be able to make it necessarily. But that is probably why the fall-off rate on the second series tends to be quite high, as opposed to a series growing and building. But of course there are many exceptions to that.
And
great
You is
storytellers.
one. They've nailed that completely.
Right. Well, I've not seen that, so I'm going to watch it. Thank you for that recommendation. We have one other little bit of news. This is Paul Heron's of the wonderful Killing Times, who is absolutely fantastic on bringing us the latest in crime drama and films throughout the world. So his website is well worth tuning into or clicking into or whatever you do. And this is he writes this: speak to any British crime author and they tell you that Mick Herron's Slough House books are the best around, and Partners in Crime has said that many times and oft, and I think we're right. The spy thrillers have caused many to dub Herron the new Le Carré, and his main protagonist, the flawed Jackson Lamb, as a full-staff type of character. So it's with huge anticipation that Herron's books are being picked up by Apple TV for adaptation. Furthermore, Oscar-winning British actor Gary Oldman, no stranger to spy thriller thanks to his work as George Smiley in the newest version of Le Carré's Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy, is cast in the role of Jackson Lamb. Variety reports that the streaming service will be adapting the series entitled Slow Horses after the first novel in the series. Well, you know I'm a big Mick Herron fan. I absolutely love his books, so that's great to hear, and it's particularly great to hear that the mighty Gary Oldman will be playing the main protagonist, Jackson Lamb. So that's something to look forward to in the coming year, hopefully.
Lovely. I got a bit distracted then by looking out the window as you were talking and noticing that outside appears to have turned pink.
The skies over... Yes, they have.
Just everything has. There seems to be like someone's put a pink filter over the sun.
There's
It's
been
very
some
odd.
warmth coming through these grey skies today. I've noticed some sort of rather lovely... It's the time of year when you have these sort of interesting sunsets, don't you? Or you can't see the sun, you can't see it setting, but it is a lovely colour, actually.
Yeah, it's very strange. It's like a pink hue to everything outside. There we go.
Yes, we like a pink hue, don't we?
Which, of course, nobody can see because this is audio and going out a couple of days after we're talking about this.
We'll have to describe it. Outside the window
It's pink.
is a beautiful pink hue. Partners in fashion.
Yeah.
Partnership.
And not our Hugh.
Not
Hugh Fraser.
Not the lovely Hugh Fraser, no. Absolutely
A
not.
bright pink Hugh Fraser standing outside looking at us.
So how have we done? We've done Mick Herron, we've done Wisting, we've done Ian Rankin, we've done...
Alexa.
We've done
briefly.
Alexa.
We did Scotsman.
We did the Scotsman.
We
did the Scotsman.
We done awards that we've won.
Yes.
We've done that. We've done
blown our own
sponsorship.
trumpets and a few other people's as well.
Yeah, not a bad half an hour, really, and a good way to start off 2020. And we are almost 3 years old. No, we're not. We're nearly 2 years old. 2 years old.
You don't look it. You look so much younger.
Yeah, well, this is it. I've lost count of the years already. We will be 2 years old at the end of the month, and we are looking at doing a live episode of Partners in Crime. We're still to sort out exactly which day, because the problem is we have to make sure we're actually both here, because we can't do a live one in advance.
Exactly.
But the idea is you'll be able to listen live, which isn't that revolutionary really, because it's basically just radio, and also perhaps watch live as well.
So you're going to do that thing that you do?
Maybe, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how technical it's all going to be, but you might be able to listen and watch live, or listen or watch live, which should be good fun to celebrate our second birthday.
We don't want to ruin it for everyone. I mean, to actually see us.
Yeah, we can see the new studio. The new studio has been here for the best part of a year and nobody's seen it yet.
Really?
Yeah. We've never done a live video one from here. We've never done any video in here.
Okay. Well, you can see the lap of luxury in which we broadcast in, and it is incredibly comfortable as ever, and I look forward to another year by your side, Mr. Croft.
Yes. Well, we're going to talk about that a bit more, and perhaps put some news of that in the Partners in Crime Facebook group as well in time. Okay. So do go and find that. I think there's a few groups called Partners in Crime on Facebook, but it's one that's got the same logo as the podcast. So
you're very
find
good.
That
you're
one.
a dedicated follower of technology.
Indeed.
And I look to you like a sort of a Merlin of the broadcasting
Look
world.
Look at me
really.
with my pink backdrop behind me, my pink hue.
You've got the beard with just occasional grey flecking, so you're on the way there. But against this wonderful pink hue outside, your lights have just come on.
They have. That's because the sun is setting and they come on automatically.
Are those security lights?
No, they're just general lights, but they come on automatically. They're based on they've got a light sensor. So they come on when it gets dark enough.
See, the technology never stops.
No.
He is a veritable encyclopedia of all things.
We should stop talking about things that people can't actually see.
No, well, but that's the wonder of radio. The challenge is for us to describe them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're not doing that very well.
No, it's basically just pink. Everything's pink. That's as far as we can go.
Yes, well, I think on that note we best leave.
Let's do that.
Partners in Crime was presented by Adam Croft and Robert Daws and produced by Adam Croft. The theme tune was by the Caesareans. The Partners in Crime logo and imagery were designed by Stuart Faish. Partners in Crime is sponsored by Kobo, your favourite local bookshop, perfected.